Adieu to everybody who's tuned in. Another busy gardening week for me, plus putting this lot together. I'm still active on YouTube and my Zooms, plus this input. That was last month's stuff. Sign of old age. I had to get me a shoe on to get my boots on. Easier. Right, saw this this morning. Soil Association put it on. I've been involved with them for a few years now. Did talks for them, whatever. Compost tea seminars and such. Saw the little clip what they put on this morning, and this bit was on. This is what they call tilling or digging in the States. So I thought I'd reply. Ploughing is releasing carbon into the atmosphere. Personally, I haven't dug for 30 odd years. That's why worms were invented. They do my digging, working with nature basically. So my compost is ready within a month. I knew it was good compost, but I need it in writing. Get in touch with the government and whatever. Send a sample to the Laverstoke laboratories, and basically the bacterial activity excellent, fungal activity excellent, fungal biomass exceptional. This compost is excellent. Got it in writing. Then got in touch with the government. Didn't want to know. I said I've got the alternative for Pete. If I can do it, you can do it. Still waiting. So if you know somebody, a gardener for Christmas, and they need an extra Christmas present, they'll learn from my book. Nature, love it. Look at that. And not leaves, not sticks. England versus Argentina rugby. Hard luck, lads, good game. Got a couple of talks coming up. So getting me stuff ready. This talk was Tuesday, Macklinth, West Wales. 2 p.m. start afternoon. There's quite a few doing a 2 p.m. starts now. This is the bowling green. That's where the bowling club. Because of the valleys there, going down there. Fighter jet come over, bloody crap myself. But good to see the chaps. Good talk, composting. 10 minutes before due to start, I think there's only 5 turned up. Then they started piling in. I'm probably waiting for the rain to finish. But good, enjoyed it. On the same night, took me 2 hours 40 minutes to get there. Obviously did the talk, 2 hours 40 minutes to get back home. I just managed to make it in time for our little one's birthday meal. And they ate him in his chocolate. I've been to Amsterdam, bought me some tulips. There's Russian, look at her at peace. And now we're going to put the tulips in. So these 2 raised beds, top of the garden, which I've got away put on there. Thank you, dear. Got them out of the bags, and they will go in between bedding what's in there. So 5 in each one. I'll give the gaffer a better colour, keep the peace. So taking the top dressing off, obviously that's what I want to say, activity, worms underneath, that's what you'll get. That's all the top dressing off, that'll go back on after. Then you've got to make your hole, obviously. Bung your ball bin, make sure they're the right way up, all the same depth. I think it's 4 or 5 inches. Just firm in lightly. Put your top dressing back in. And I don't want the wind blowing it away, so then I'll get to watering again. That's obviously water the ball with no rain, but it does rain. Right, I love children, but I couldn't eat that whole one. So this steamed children with chilli sauce and extra change, I suppose. Right, this is my last raised bed. I've got to erect the little chap. 1 page was missing. Page 7. But I did manage to put it together. Remember what I did last time. There's my fuston. There's the one I just put in. Eventually that'll be moved up. Right, on the Wednesday I also had another talk. And this was Shrewley near Coventry, 7:30 start. This was the chairperson giving a spiel before. And then Juanita, speaker secretary, also a Zoomer. They give me a good introduction. Well, and at the end. And then bags behind her. I bought some leaf moulding for me to have a nose. Beautiful stuff. But behind on the stage, I've bought me 4 bags of guinea pig manure. and a plant is a good one. So I'll give her a signed book. Also, she bought these 2 plants in here, house plants. I borrowed them off her as well. Another little one there. Just looking up, still picking the strawberries and the raspberries, but deadhead in the strawberries, obviously. Any dead leaves off them, now I'll take them off. But these are going to get jobbed Friday because we're getting our first frost. That's in the Midlands. Another, please Paul. Another crazy come, and that's what the winds have done. It blew that half down, which had been tied up. Right, this is from what are you going to give me? The guinea pig muck and leaf mould. Beautiful stuff. I'm going to be using that. Right, this pot is where one of my fruit trees are going to go in. So I'll just put my scissors in, twist them and turn them in, and it gives you a larger, neater hole. The fruit trees, they need to be in water overnight because I'm bare root, so that's what I've done there. Cape gooseberry, still picking them, picking quite a bit. Coal greenhouse, so obviously if you do get a frost, it'll look after them. So they've got a cherry, which is a cordon, and obviously the next little chap is a pear cordon, but Beth, and these 2 will be fruiting for our show for Saturday in September. And then my blackberry, Loch Ness. This is a new one to me, Loch Ness. We're not bringing out new ones every year. If you remember blackberry, 2 I put in last year. This one went haywire. He's had iron, Epsom salt, but he's still crap, so he's coming out. And that's where my new one's going. Chopped him off the top and then pulled him out, and the root structure on it called Bennett. So what the hell was wrong with him? This one had got the same compost or makeup as that one. Right, kitchen compost or kitchen waste garden compost, weekly stuff. I've chopped that up and the ingredients I'm going to get in. Right, 1 large pot, which is there. Mix all my ingredients up. Now they're going in the compost as normal weekly sesh. Bung them in level. Shake the worms out the 2 bits of carpet back into there, which is on top. It's up bone dry, so I'll give that a watering. Also, the 2 carpets was drying out. This was after 5 days the last time I put in, but water them as well. Then put your lid back on. Sorting them out. Right, I'm going to empty that compost which the old blackberry was in. I've only got 1 large hole there, but if he does get blocked, then obviously it's going to knacker everything up. So I'll put my large, not flat piece in, and then put some more around him, just in case the growing medium is concealed or dried. Just make it easier drainage. Right, my raised bed on the top left of the garden. This had nothing in last year. I'm just going down a fork's depth, and you see there's moisture still in there, although it was covered, and that's what I want to see. Activity, bacteria, fungi, worms get going. That stuff I've just took out that tub, I'm going to put it on top of here, spread that out. Right, blackberry. He's got alpaca muck, sheep muck. Plus he's got some guinea pig muck. Good drop of muck under him. There's also rollers, sheep muck. He's had a bung there in and all. And that's a bit of dried shredded goat muck. So he's got a good brew under his Harris. Get him to the height I want him. Cowsy grass there for steak is plant-based, thank you very much. not very good photo, but there's the two plants I'll have you enter when I give that talk. I don't know what I'm doing to them yet. I need my jam jars, my large ones now, ready for next year, for me fruit and jams or whatever. Stuff still growing. Right, looking at the Loch Ness Pomona fruits, I have quite a bit of stuff off them. Harvest of fruit from mid-August onwards, which is perfect for me. That's why I've had the chap. So there's the height he is. Then I'll just backfill with a good brew and my normal stuff, which we've got there. He will sit nicely in there. So I'll then carry him down there. If I'd have watered him first, that'd have been too heavy, so I'll carry him down first. And then once he's settled, i.e. I've leveled him off and whatever underneath, then I'll give him a good watering, as we've done there. Just let me circle that way. Right, fruit trees, top of the garden. Now they've been in the bucket, i.e. overnight. Roots have soaked up the water. Got me all. You got a same depth you had it in the pot, or where you can see where it was, i.e. above the knuckle, below the knuckle. But I've took all the soil round from the outside underneath here, so I can spread the roots underneath as well. And that's what I've done. Right, he's nice and upright that way, firmed him in, and he's upright looking from the front as well. So he's got a good brew under him. Now I'm going to top dress him. I'm not going to put a stake in, because we don't get much winds up here, unlike down the plot. This one is a cherry. Right, the other one I've got to put in a pot. So there's one I'm planted and one I'm potting. So he's going to have a good drop of muck under his Harris as well. Different brews under him. So I'll get my next bucket out. Good dollops of roots on him as well. But put my brew in there, my mixture, and he's firmed in. Right, that's him. So I've took him down to the bottom. Right, now back to these blackberries. He eventually will go up there. I only need one. I only need one on the right side. So I've chopped him off, one on the left. So now I've just got one spur there, which you can see. And he will give me fruit next year. Looking at that lot there, I thought I'll have a closer inspection. Green fly, the buggers, so I rub them off my finger and thumb. Right, he will be tied in now, nice and straight, just one going up. And my new shoot off there will be next year's, year after's fruit. So he's come right to the end, which is what I wanted. So I've now chopped him off. I'm on, because I like my cannas, I'm on the International Canna Society, and showed these to a couple of mates if she's got a virus. So I sent him the photos to all my other cannas and asked him. So these two I've had to bin. There's quite a few get viruses, but it's a learning curve for me. And I ditched the pots as well. This was just top dressing or deadheading flowers that are finished. Make it look a bit better, the garden. Cape Gooseberry is going to get planted out, and that's where it's going. Well, because he was a bit pot brown, or there was more roots coming out the bottom, I didn't want to break them roots off, so I just cut the pot away, and I managed to get them all out without any root disturbance, which is what I wanted. Nice large hole. Obviously, the depth you want, put a bit of mica under his Harris and firm him in. I could have gone round the side there, I suppose, with my blackberry. Right, he's firmed in, give him a good watering. on the labelling, which I really like from John. Right, these two, these are scented, that's why we had them, and he's already showing a flower. Thinks it's spring, they're loopy weather. Sent her a photo of these lot as well to me mate. This is another one which I think is coming tomorrow, Queen Charlotte. My honeyberry, looking into these, you're supposed to have 2 to pollinate, but mine is self-fertile, so that's good. Right, shredded or powdered eggshells. Then I've got Lay's chicken pellets, alfalfa pellets, and these are oyster shell. These are the ingredients to go with me composting when I do that. So then we're all upended, mixed together, and that'll be ready with me shredded paper and me ripped up egg boxes, ready for me composting. Right, this is my last one I've had, my canna, and that's got a virus as well. My mate told me. Get them off reputable people, obviously. Right, another game was on. Boston game, Hard Luck Girls. These are coming through even more now. I still think it's spring. I'm going to have a shock Friday. Bringing everything back down to earth. Anybody have these when they was a kid? Corn dog sandwich with red sauce on. Beautiful. Right, I've cooked that away, ready to be moved. Down the trading stores again Saturday, had some wood chip delivered, but no, I don't need that stuff. So I just scraped away all the new stuff and got the old stuff out underneath. That's what I want. When I got that bag on, all I'm going to do, because he ain't too moist, so I'll give him an watering. There's a couple of holes in the bottom. Just tie him up and then put him at the back of the shed with the other stuff. Perfect. Right, nature's still going because we've got the mild weather and the little chap's still about doing what they're supposed to be doing. I had a mate come round, he wanted to see how I did my tunnel. Basically, I've got scaffolding poles cemented in, and there's 64mm plastic gas piping wedged on the top of there for me hoops, meaning them ain't going to go nowhere. Right, while he was there, I got him to help me drag that bed, and underneath there was loads of worms actually where I scraped all the grey medium up, turned them over, and you'll see the little chaps. They went straight in the bin. Perfect. Right, top dressing. This was a rabbit muck I had from the allotment while I was down there. So everything I've done. Once I've top dressed with it, I then watered, because we're on top of it. I don't want the wind blowing it away, anything like that. Right, looking at these lot here, you can see. Right, next week we're not fitting in, because we're going to get, if I can do before Friday, he's going to get a coat on, winter coat. Top dressing all the others I've bunged in as well, and watering them. Stuff inside the end of the tunnel, because I've filled them up. I'm going to stop them drying out as well, so I'll put rabbit muck on top of them and water that. That'll keep that stuff active. Still tying the grapes up at the top. England 26, Samoa 27. Hard luck, boys. Better luck next time. Boston game. First time I said tennis and all down easily, but this was women's doubles. And this was a BBC one. Obviously Albert Hall shed a tear as normal watching that. Taking the hound for a walk on a morning, and I see the worm on the pathway, so I picked him up. A good deed for the day with the hound, looking after him. Eventually we got to fill him up. Still tying him up, as you can see, he's a couple of days. Right, levelling these up. which I have done. And then the missus saw a mouse. I thought, bugger, could be hiding under there. So I'm going to put some pellets up the top of the by the shed. Right, top dressing my blackberries as well. There is next year's growth. Tied him up, that's all I want. What have I got at the top here? Just a berry. Right, these two beds, I've just took these tops off, and that's the only weeds are in, because I'm not digging. I'm only getting airborne seeds. There's no seeds I'm bringing to the surface that can go. We didn't have time to go to them next week. These two of weed suppressant are wedged in underneath. If the wind blows it out, then I will peg them. Wheelchair rugby. Saw this during the week and all. I think it's BBC Two. You should recognise him, our mate. He got blown up in Afghanistan. But first time I've seen this, brilliant. Couldn't take my eyes off it. And they played obviously Wales. This was semis. That was half time. And this was taken when they get a penalty kick, obviously they can't do it. So this is how they it's like volleyball, they just smack it over the post. But brilliant, loved it. Then we went out for another meal. This is Aaron's, it's just Sunday while there was no Zoom. So we have a look at that roast. And the grandchild has a pig's ear, keep her quiet. Right, back home next day. Shredder, nice large bag. 100 litre vermiculite means a good one. I then put tape around the top, stops all the dust coming out, and it works. But this roll is field gathered sheep manure, as you can see. Dried pellets, meaning it's going to break up. Superb in my shredder, and that's what I want. Bit wet when I got down to the bottom, but they still come out, and that's how it come out. Beautiful stuff. You could have a sandwich of that. Beautiful. So I've got a load in there, and the other bit of it I bought up the top here. Right, this is a dried rabbit muck. So I've got to fill this raised beds. This will take some filling. That's why I bought a load of stuff up. So that's my first one, dried rabbit muck. Then I've got a rabbit muck again, but it's started breaking down in one of the bags. That's my guinea pig muck. And that's going on next. That was from one of my talks, if you remember. That's the rabbit muck going in, which I've shredded. There's also biochar going on there. So he's got quite a good drop of muck under his arris. There was a shredded goat muck and all. Then I've got Rollies extras, so I'm getting a jug of everything. So next one is wormery number 1. That's all going into a bucket, which then goes into a bag. Then get a jug of his coir. Then his antil topsoil. Jug of that as well. That's a jug of my compost, which I grow my cormets, glady cormets in last year. So I set my safe compost. And that lot mixed up comes out like that. When I mixed up in a bag. So that lot goes on. So this is going to be a good growing medium on top of my manure, which is underneath. This trench is going to be for my exhibition peas next year. And while I was there looking up, I thought, Christ, I've got buds on one of my fruit trees. So I emailed me fruit man, Jerry. I said, I've got to rub them off or leave them. Still waiting for a reply from him. So I'll let you know next week what my reply was. Right, filled him up, getting there slowly. just push it down at the side so it does not compact right down, but just helping it out. Started piddling down, which is good timing for me because I just finished it. Right, the straw which I'm put down in a tunnel, Rosie was in there and I think there was a mouse making a hole, so I took all that out, the new straw, and put the old stuff down. That'll be better. England, New Zealand, ladies, Boston game, hard luck gals. Loved it. And they work